Diablo Immortal. The game nobody has been waiting for realistically. Diablo on mobile. How bad could it be? I'm here to tell you, hopefully. So, this is gonna be a review of Diablo Immortal, overview of various features, and I will be showing some gameplay at the very end. So, first of all, for the structure of this video, there will be timestamps for all the different chapters in the video description. You can also use the YouTube chapters feature, I believe it's called. So, first of all, the Dealbreakers. Stuff that might just immediately lead you to the conclusion, I don't want to play it. I'm going to give you a short summary of the game, sort of the TLDR or TLDW, I guess, if you want. So if you just want a quick information, how bad is it? That's your segment. After that, I'm going to qualify myself, explain like which games did I play, what's my angle on this, and then we're going to get into the actual game. What's the gameplay like? How's the combat? What activities are there? How's the progression? And then, of course, the juicy stuff. What can you pay for? And what does it give you? And finally, the aforementioned gameplay. So I'll show you what's rifting like, what's the raid like, and PvP, and all those. So, first of all, the Dealbreakers. You probably already know, but just in case, yes, there's a very strong pay to win. The further you get into the game, the more it gets. So, if you're just trying to approach this as a truly free-to-play person and you want to also compete, this is not for you. There's also strong time gating, the usual MMO stuff, like you can only do you can do the raid multiple times a week, but you'll only get rewards once, or in this case twice. There's a cap on most activities in terms of rewards, so it's quite limiting. So if you have this aversion to FOMO games that just sort of require you to schedule your life around them, this is also not for you. If you're hoping for another Diablo, the loot, I'll say this much, is even more shallow than Diablo 3. So if that was already a turn-off for you in Diablo 3, another deal breaker. And also, of course, it's a mobile game. You can play it on PC, but you still feel that in essence, it is a mobile game. Okay, so if you're still interested, here's a quick summary. It's basically Diablo 3 meets an MMO. The combat very much does feel like a Diablo game. However, you kill smaller groups of enemies. So if you're used to the blowing up of hundreds of monsters, this is similar but on a smaller scale. Except for rifts, they are very similar to Diablo 3, but the open world areas, it's usually smaller groups of monsters, more like most other MMOs. The open world areas are shared instances with other people, so it's not just your party, like most other MMOs. Benefits, it's easy to party up, of course. The downsides, kill stealing. If you've played an MMO, you're probably familiar with it. You just run around, alright, I need to kill 10 monsters for this quest. Oh, there's a group. Oh no, somebody just killed it. I guess I'll wait for them to respawn. Can get very frustrating. You have rifts, just like in Diablo 3. You have instance dungeons, like most MMOs. And some parts of the story are actually instance for you or your party. I've played for a little over 30 hours, I want to say, spread across several days. And so far I haven't really felt like super underpowered. And I haven't spent money, at least on anything that gives me a benefit. I'll get into that later. However, PvP is definitely an aspect. If you intend to play PvP, you will not feel good as a free-to-play player. Other stuff, you can get a little bit of fun out of. As mentioned initially, strong pay to win. It'll get worse the further you get. So up until level 60, it's okay, yeah, here's something you could buy, here's a little bit, and yep, sure, you could spend, but it's fine. But the further you get, the more progression will slow down unless you spend money. And of course, you need to spend more and more. It sort of increases almost exponentially, I think. The various FOMO things, they depend on what kind of a player you are. All those dailies, if you're like playing an hour a day regularly, then it's probably fine for you because you can keep up. But if that's something that frustrates you because you really get the FOMO, I need to get all my dailies, I need to keep up. There's so many things you can do per day. I'm still unlocking new things. I could probably, if I logged in an hour every day, I'm not sure if I could check off all of my daily things. And another thing is, some things are not just time gated, as in you can only do them once a day, but they're also limited to a specific time. Like you can only do it from 6 to 8 PM. So for PC players, I'm just gonna say, there's better alternatives. There's plenty of other games out there. Many other MMOs. Alternatively, of course, games like Path of Exile, Last Epoch, maybe even Diablo 3, all those games and the various Diablo clones. Most of them I would say you should rather play than this. For mobile players, the game plays like most other big name titles, so controls are fine. But lag can definitely be an issue because you're on a mobile connection, ping might not be stable, so be ready for possible lag problems. Also, if you're intending to play this, be ready for every money extracting tactic in the book. They will try anything to get money out of you. So, my verdict, if you really want more Diablo, and you've played all the various other games, or you just really want to see it for yourself, or you really want a mobile game, I guess try it, it's free. But just be ready, they are gonna try to suck the money out of you. Be ready to drop it as soon as it actually entices you to spend money. Also, I would highly recommend, before you play this game, watch the talk Let's Go Whaling by Torolf Jernström. I hope that's pronounced correctly. I'll link it in the video description. He basically explains how free-to-play games are monetized. All the tricks on how to get you to spend money even if you might not want to. Sort of the psychological tricks. In general, I recommend anyone to watch that. If you play games, you should probably watch that talk. Okay, so who am I and what's my angle? I've played every Diablo game for over 1,000 hours. Diablo 3 actually for over 2,000 hours. Over 2,000 hours in Path of Exile. I've played most other modern Diablo-likes. I even have a tier list from those that I did play. Video link will be in the description. I'm gonna be reviewing this mostly as a PC game. A few comments on how it's on mobile, but I'm playing this on PC. I've spent 30 hours in this game, roughly so far. And I'm basically playing as free-to-play. I technically bought something, but it didn't give me any benefit. I will be explaining this later on. Mainly, I will be comparing this to Diablo 3. And also, this is my first time doing a review in this format, so apologies if the visual presentation is a little bit lacking. The combat. First of all, to put it simply, it plays mostly like a Diablo 3. I'm playing Demon Hunter. The skills are even almost the same. So I'm gonna... You have two different primary attacks you can choose, and then I'm just gonna read the description of a few skills. Daring Swing, I think this is a new one. Use a rope to swing to a nearby location, dealing some amount of damage on enemies on the way while they cannot attack you. To charge the movement skill. Knife Trap. Place a knife trap that explodes when an enemy approaches, shooting knives that deal some amount of damage. All nearby enemies. Maximum 3 charges. You can have up to 3 traps, but they cannot be overlapping. Rain of Vengeance. Fire a massive volley of arrows into the air that rain down for several seconds, dealing some amount of damage over 4 seconds, and this is a legendary effect, so we'll just ignore this. So, yeah, plays a lot like a Diablo 3. As you can see, this is my Rain of Vengeance, modified by a legendary. The traps. Just, if you've played Diablo 3, you've even seen this skill, so it plays very similar in that regard. However, you don't have mana, as you can see, I only have health up here. Skills are only limited by cooldown. So if I use this, you can see down here, 15 seconds cooldown, 14, 13. Overall, this game has more of an emphasis on dodging, not with these normal enemies, but bosses have a lot more telegraphed attacks that you need to avoid. More like an MMO, I guess, in that regard. You can also find shrines very similar to Diablo 3. They give you just a short boost, like more attack speed, cooldown reduction for about a minute. There's also globes, which are mini shrines, so just shorter shrines. Overall, I would say the combat is satisfying and fun if you like Diablo 3. Technical aspects and the game client itself. So first of all, the game runs pretty well. I've encountered very few bugs and crashes, and nothing major, like no rollbacks. I haven't lost any progress. There might just be a button that's stuck for a little bit. Maybe you even need to log out. I think the game crashed 2 or 3 times, but nothing terrible or ruining the game experience. Controls are very good on PC. You can move around with your mouse, just like in Diablo 3. WASD is also an option. There's gamepad support, and you have various hotkeys like I for inventory, N for your skills, and various others. You can still feel that it's mobile though. If I'm gonna open my inventory here, I hover over my items, nothing happens. I have to click, and then, oh, there's this. Everything is, of course, a lot bigger in terms of the font size. So scrolling is also a little weird. In some places it works with mouse wheel, in other places it doesn't. So you can definitely still feel that it's a mobile game. On mobile, the game runs pretty well. It's kept to 60 FPS, unfortunately. So if you have a flagship phone with higher refresh rate, sorry. There's a lot of graphics options, so you can turn down the graphics if you have an older phone to still get 60 FPS, so overall I would say that's pretty decent. Progression. The itemization somehow is even shallower than in Diablo 3. Your gear might have some affixes like willpower, strength, and then stuff like base damage increased and you have sockets. However, it basically all boils down to one thing. What's the score here? If the score is higher, put it on. Or maybe the damage roll, or on other pieces, the life roll. So you're basically going to be comparing two stats. Technically, the other ones, of course, can be a nice bonus, but most of your power is dictated by the score, directly or indirectly. So, not particularly interesting. If you miss the interesting variety of Diablo 2, sorry. Also, I've never gone back in rarity. As soon as I found a rare item, I've never put a blue item in that slot. And as soon as I got a legendary, I've never put anything else on that slot. So it's not like Path of Exile where you have a mix of uniques and rares at the end game. No. Eventually, it's probably gonna be all legendaries and set items. Leveling took me about 25 hours spread across 5 days, which is relevant because the daily stuff, of course, gives you a lot more experience. So if you only play an hour a day, you'll reach level 16 less in-game time, but of course more real-life time. Around level 55, a level up just via rifting, so the repeatable activity, not the daily boosted stuff, took me about an hour. So it's slower than in Diablo 3, but it's not terribly slow. And most of the limited activities that you can only do maybe once or twice per day seem to give about twice as much experience per time invested, maybe even a little more. A big problem of the progression is that items scale with Paragon. So this item has a score of 4251. I found it at level 60, I believe. If I were, let's say, Paragon level 20, so I'm currently 7, and found this would just be better. So it's not like you ever really reach an endpoint in your gear. You always hunt for newer gear of the higher item level, or effective item level. Which also means that the aforementioned little relevance of your affixes, like Fortitude or Willpower, is diminished even further because the hunt for higher item score never ends. So you never really truly get the opportunity to focus on the secondary affixes. Also, there's just way too many ways to increase power. Of course, you have your gear here, you have your Paragons, which, similar to Diablo 3, give you a little bit of damage, and then maybe some buffs, guaranteed critical hits, and of course there's also defensive stuff, but those are not the only things. You have the Reliquary, which you progress through the weekly, or actually bi-weekly raid, which, as you can see, it gives me some combat rating, and stuff that's only active in the equivalent of Greater Rifts. You have the Legacy of the Horadrim, which are these stones you can find by doing certain activities, you socket them in, and you upgrade them by currency that you farm. You can see on the left here, those are my bonuses. Then you also have the Codex, which it's sort of like the equivalent of achievements in Diablo 3. Tracks various stuff like participate in this activity, defeat this boss, do this on a certain difficulty, and of course Battle Pass. Most things that you do give you Battle Pass experience, and then you get extra rewards from this. Another thing about the progression is you can gamble, similar to Diablo 3. You can get a mystery weapon or armor, jewelry. However, you're limited to 25 per day, and I'm just gonna get some jewelry. You can see, yep, you can just buy, but only 25 per day. And then there's a warning. If you buy too many per day, it gets more expensive. And as you can see, 16,000, okay, yeah, I can afford that. 25,000, that's quite a hefty increase. So just another way to time gate your progression. Overall, I feel like there's just way too many different systems that give you a small increase in power. It gets so convoluted that I'm having a hard time keeping track of where I can do what to improve my character's power now. Another problem with the progression is the Paragon system itself. I get boosted Paragon experience because I'm below the server's Paragon level. Basically, it increases by 2 each day. So if you get too far ahead, you get reduced experience. However, certain items require a Paragon level. Like, you might find a set item that requires Paragon level 20, and you just can't put it on until you get to a certain Paragon level. Oh yeah, to make things worse, Paragon is basically another system with a battle pass. So you've seen the other battle pass before, this is another one. So at level 45, 50, 55, 60, and then Paragon 5, 15, and so on, you get rewards. This is the free track, and of course, if you're willing to pay some money, there's bonus stuff you can have. Legendary gems function very similar to how they did in Diablo 3. You have sockets in your gear, you put them in and they give you some kind of bonus. Like this one gives you some resonance, some combat rating, and of course they had to make everything convoluted and had to deviate from the good old Diablo stats. And you also get increased attack speed for your primary attack, and then if you increase this gem further, you get other bonuses. The problem with these is, to level them up, you need a certain essence that you get by destroying other legendary gems. So you need legendary gems to upgrade your legendary gems. The problem is, getting legendary gems, they are super rare. Unless you pay money, of course. We'll get more into that later. We also have normal gems, very similar to Diablo 3. You put them in sockets, they give you some kind of bonus. However, sockets are colored in this. So yellow sockets can take either citrines or topazes. I could change them around freely at any time. And then red sockets, for example, can take tourmaline or rubies. You get the idea. You can upgrade them 3 to 1. So 3 of rank 1 gets you 1 of rank 2 and so on. There's not really much to it. It's quite straightforward. You can also upgrade your items. The materials that you require for this, you can gain through salvaging. So basically just like in Diablo 3, you salvage white items, you get these mats, you salvage yellow items, you get these, and then you need some money, you upgrade them, and it increases the bonus. So if I were to upgrade this, I might get some more willpower or some more fortitude. The weird thing is, you technically upgrade the item's rank. However, if you equip a new item, you can just transfer the rank. So effectively, you're upgrading the gear slot. Activities. So this section is going to be a little dry. I'm just going to explain all the different activities that this game has to offer. If you want to see gameplay, as mentioned before, there will be gameplay showcase of most of the major activities at the end of this video. So, rifts. You have two kinds of rifts. You have the Elder Rift, which is basically a Nephilim Rift from Diablo 3, just you get less loot because, hey, you gotta pay up. They are always pretty easy. They're just sort of your bread and butter if you want some quick experience and loot. And then you have Challenge Rifts, which is basically the equivalent of Greater Rifts. They get more difficult the higher you go in tier. However, the difference is you only get a reward once per tier that you clear. Can get quite difficult if you push here, of course, as opposed to the Elder Rifts where it's just always this cakewalk. Then we have the open world. Those are your usual MMO style open areas with other players that might not be in your party. You have relatively few enemies to kill, considering that this is a Diablo game. You have groups of like 3 to 6 enemies mostly. And you have random spawns like events, chests, bosses, shrines, just stuff to keep it a little varied. Most of the story takes place here as well. And you have exploration style achievements like explore 100% of the map, kill this specific boss, or clear a specific dungeon and you get rewards. The main problem with the open world I personally have is the kill stealing and also shrine stealing. If you find a shrine, you stand next to it but somebody else clicks it before you, you don't get anything. And with kills, if you tag the enemy, you get credit for it, but if you're unlucky, you might just run through an area that has just been cleared and you just don't encounter any enemies. You can also do bounties in the open world. They work similar to Diablo 3, as you can see here, stuff like kill a certain amount of enemies or collect stuff that drops from a certain enemy type. Nothing really special or new here, it's the usual MMO busy work. There's also various instance dungeons. There's just a few here, but there's like about 8, I want to say. They work like pretty much any other MMO. You find a party, go into the dungeon, and then you're just by your party. There's no other random people running around. You walk through it, kill a few monsters here, kill a few monsters there, then a door opens, kill a boss, make some progress, kill some more monsters, kill another boss, rinse and repeat until you're at the end, and then you get a little bit of loot. The raid. Currently, there's only one raid boss as far as I know, with several difficulties. I have, however, only tried one. It took about 5 minutes, so it's not like a World of Warcraft raid. It's a lot shorter, and it's also a lot less complex. So it's more complex than your average Rift Guardian, quite a bit more complex. You have some wipe mechanics. If you don't get in cover in time, you will just die. However, you can be revived. But it's not as crazy as a World of Warcraft raid. Overall, they're a fun challenge. Just note, there's an enrage timer, so you can't just be totally undergeared, because Diablo 3 sends its regard. PvP. First of all, PvP is only available at certain times during the day, as you can see here, from 8 to 10, 12 to 14, and so on. So if you can only play from, say, 20 to 22 o'clock, you're just screwed and you can't play. Which might not be all that terrible, because pay to win is quite strong in PvP. The overall format is that you have an 8 versus 8, one team attacking, one team defending. The defending team has a quite simple task: stop the attacking team either until the time runs out or until you have killed 55 attackers. The attacking team has to kill 3 mini-bosses, of course, while the defenders are trying to stop them from it. Then they have to push 1 of 2 payloads down a lane. The payload only gets pushed if there's no enemies around, so it's similar to Team Fortress 2's or Overwatch's payload modes. If your team manages to push a payload all the way through, you can then proceed to push towards the enemy space and try to destroy their main building. If you manage to do it, you win, otherwise, defenders win. Important thing to note, you don't have potions in PvP, you instead have a bandage, which can only be used out of combat and which is a slow heal over time. A channeled ability, basically. It takes about 5 seconds to fully heal. Also note that PvP implicitly has a heavy emphasis on teaming and crowd control. If you run around alone and you just run into 2 people, they might just stun you for 3 seconds straight and just burst you down and there's not much you can do. But of course, you can respawn. The respawn timer increases a little bit every time you die, up to a cap of 12 seconds. Stuff you can pay for. Alright, here we have the Battle Pass. Of course, you have your free track up here. You just get some materials, which you would get from salvaging items anyways, and a currency that allows you to buy a few things. Nothing really crazy. And then if you were to pay, of course, you immediately get a legendary gem, which is quite a nice upgrade, especially early on. And then you just get, as a free player, more generic materials, which, sure, you have a use for them, but you're not really super short on them. And if you pay, of course, you get premium materials, like the stuff you can get from raids, which you can only get a certain amount of times per week. You get gems, which are also quite rare in this, and then you get crests, which boost your loot from rifts. I will be showing that later on. And then, oh look, another legendary gem. Oh, and there we have a few crests for the free-to-play plebs. But overall, you can see, as you would expect, you just get a lot better rewards from the premium track. And of course, if you have the premium track, it's not like you don't get the free rewards. So the Battle Pass does give you quite a lot of bonus stuff if you're willing to pay. And then we have the aforementioned Paragon premium track. As I said, Paragon works also basically on a Battle Pass system. You just get rewards at certain Paragon milestones. And of course, as a free player, sure, you get some extra loot, it's nice, and you actually get to choose. That's quite nice. You get a choice of 6 items, so you can actually build a set, hopefully, with this. I haven't gotten that far, as you can see. But the premium track gives you legendary crests, which just means a guaranteed legendary gem if you finish a rift. And as I mentioned before, legendary gems are required to upgrade legendary gems, so you just get a huge increase of power through that. Next, we have the Boon of Plenty. As you can see, you immediately get an inventory expansion of 6 rows. That's quite a lot, although you don't run out of inventory space that frequently, so it's actually more for convenience. I don't feel like this is very necessary. Remote market access, so you can sell stuff to other players, basically the auction house, and then more market slots. How pay to win you consider this is up to you. And then you also get these rewards across 30 days, as you can see here. So 2 legendary gems, 7 legendary crests, which means more random legendary gems, and then normal crests, which also give you more loot, and some gems. Up next, you can buy Platinum, which is sort of the intermediary currency. So you have Eternal Orbs, which can only be bought with real money. You have the Gold, which is, well, just like Gold in Diablo. And then you have Platinum, which can be earned by playing, but not a lot can be earned. And of course, you can pay for it. Platinum can be used on the market, so buying stuff from other players. Think of it like the Diablo 3 auction house, but you can't sell every piece. It's a little limited in what you can sell, mostly gems. Then you have the legendary crest, which guarantees you a legendary gem at the end of a rift. You can also find legendary gems. I have found none so far. All of the gems I have were through fixed means, so battle pass reward or crests you got somewhere. So this is a quite bad offender in terms of pay to win, seeing how necessary gems are. Let's get to the bundles. So when you first start the game, after about 15 minutes of gameplay, the game offers you to buy a bundle. One time only, of course. It has some crazy increased value. As you can see, all of these have increased value. That's what this number is supposed to tell you. To just sort of trick you into at least making a purchase. The further you get, the more bundles become available. Imagine if you're playing Diablo 2 or Diablo 3, and whenever you finish an act, you just get a notification, hey, there's a new one-time bundle in the shop available. Now, this is where it gets fun. So the first bundles, actually the first 2, are 99 cents. And then the next one, 1.99. Okay, I guess a little bit more expensive. Let's see. 4.99, 6.99, 9.99. And then, this is where the fun begins. 19.99, 29.99, And then you have the $49.99, and I'm sure there will be more bundles the further you get into the game. I actually purchased the first bundle, the first one for 99 cents, so you can't see it here anymore. It was paid by a viewer. It's a long story. If you want to stop by the stream, I'll gladly share it. Twitch.tv/Skytis. But what did the bundle give me? That's what we care about, right? Well, first of all, as you can see, I have 60 Eternal Orbs, so the premium currency. What can I buy with this, you might ask? Nothing, I tell you. Because screw you! You gotta pay more. And you also got a skin. So as you can see here, I have fancy cosmetics unlocked now. Yay. And of course, we have cosmetics, so just a full item set of skins basically. They come in two variants, so you have the standard version and then you have the collector version. The only difference is you get a portal skin. And you have to pay 50% more. So make of that what you want. Let's get to Reforged Stones. I haven't used any yet myself, so I'm not entirely sure how they work. But I believe you can use them to reroll an item with a certain family of affixes. So you might just use this and then you get one of these affixes. So a bit similar to certain orbs in Path of Exile. But of course, you gotta pay money for it if you want good gear. So it's in the shop and not anywhere else. Then we have the Dawning Echo. I believe this is the material that you use to awaken legendary gems. Since this is, as far as I know, premium only, I don't know exactly how it works because I didn't buy it. I believe it just makes your gems stronger in some way, so more pay to win stuff that you just cannot get as a free-to-play because screw you. And to round it all out, most of the things that you've seen are paid through Eternal Orbs, not just directly. So you have to buy a bigger bundle of orbs, you always have to pay a little more or have some orbs left over, because hey, this is all about making money, and you know it. So here's my verdict then. I'm not gonna lie, I had some fun with the game. So it's not like this is absolutely miserable and as soon as you start up the game, you have to pay money to enjoy it. I had some fun with it. However, I was also going in expecting this to be a mobile game. So you can't just go in expecting it to be a fully fleshed out PC game. If you go in with that expectation, you can get some fun out of it without paying. You just have to absolutely be aware that it will try very hard to suck the money out of you. So if you're susceptible to that, definitely don't play this. And also, be aware the further you get, the more it just tries to keep you around and just make it basically becomes a job for you. With all the different dailies, you have to log in every day if you want to keep up. Get your free crest, gamble for your items, do your rift, do your bounties, do your bi-weekly raid, and various other activities. Plus, of course, the stuff that you can only do at a certain time of day, like PvP or certain other raid activities. So overall, I would say, if you're really curious, sure you can try it, it's free. However, the game will definitely try to trick you into spending. So I would say, unless you absolutely feel the need to, stay away from this. So that concludes it. I hope this was helpful for you in deciding whether you even want to consider playing this game at all, or maybe you'd rather just pretend this never happened and Blizzard is dead. Either way, if you want to talk about this game or just hang out, stop by my stream, twitch.tv/Skytis. Other than that, protect your wallet and have a nice day. Also, if you would like, stick around for the aforementioned gameplay showcase with some commentary. And for the gameplay showcase. So I've already accepted some bounties, as you can see here on the left in my quest log. And if you open the map, it just shows you where you need to go. And since this game has this convenient navigation feature, you can get there while you do something else, I guess. So I gotta give them props for that. The navigation feature, it only unlocks once you've finished an area, but it is quite convenient. And we're just gonna have to kill a few enemies, so this enemy we don't need. Fortunately, you see on the map the red dots. If you look at the minimap on the top right, you'll see which enemies you need to kill, and then yeah, you get some razor quills here, and we need 10 of those. So those bounties are not terribly long, but you can, if you try to do your daily cap, it's 8. Oh look, just a random rare monster. We might as well kill that for some extra loot. But as I said, yes, you can do 8 bounties per day. Those are, however, one of the few things that actually roll over. So if you don't do your 8 bounties today, you can do 16 tomorrow, or up to 24. So you can save them. Most other things that are daily or otherwise time-gated, if you miss out, you just miss out. Bounties have a little bit more leniency. Okay, so we're almost done. Just need 2 more Razor Quills. However, we just need to find enemies, and as I mentioned before, problem with the open world, there's just somebody else killing, so we don't have any enemies. So we're just gonna be running around, hoping to find a group of enemies that we can actually kill. One of the major annoyances. However, bounties do get a lot easier if you decide to party up. So I could just invite this random person. Quite convenient feature, I will have to admit. Maybe they'll accept. And if they're anywhere in the area, it doesn't matter. And so as long as they're anywhere in this entire zone, and they get a kill, or you get a kill, everybody gets credit that has the same bounty. So if you've played Diablo 3, you know split bounties, those are very much the thing in this. So I have 3 other bounties, but that's not particularly relevant. They all work the same. You just go somewhere, kill a certain amount of something, and then that's it. And once you're done, you have to go back. Navigation is a little awkward because mobile, as I said. Teleport back to Westmarch, the main city of the game, I guess. And then you have to go to the bounty board. However, we could also use the aforementioned convenient navigation feature. Once you're here, you can either talk to the quartermaster or to the board. Go here, claim reward, and there you go. You get some experience and some loot. Simple as that. Okay, we're back in the open world. So here we just have a random quest that spawned. Alright, I don't care about the story. And as you can see here, your objective, follow this person, find the children. Those quests usually take a minute or 2. They're relatively short, and you get some loot at the end. It's just a little variety in your open world doing. So usually you're probably going to be doing bounties, and then maybe you find a quest on the side or a random boss spawns. Check on the children. Alright, I did. I have to wait and skip this dialogue, unfortunately. And there we go. Talk to her. Search for Capo. Wherever that is. Right. Made it here. They're probably about to attack me. I've never done this particular quest before, so I don't know. Kill the sand scorpions, okay. So these guys, yep, they're attacking me just as predicted. It's pretty much always escort somebody, kill a few things, kill a boss, and then that's it. It feels a little formulaic, mostly. Also, as you can see in the open world, people have different... some enemies are shared, like this enemy is here for both of us, but this guy is fighting a boss. Which boss, you might ask? Well, the boss that's only instanced for him because this game is weird. Alright. Bring back the news. So now we turn it in, get our chest, and we move on. See, there it is. Get some loot. And that's it. Event completed. Okay, I've navigated to an instance dungeon, the Forgotten Tower. So we go here. I'm playing on a slightly higher difficulty. Basically, once you finish the story, you can increase the difficulty to a Hell 1 and then further. In Hell 1, you need to have a party of at least 2 people, I believe. So I'm just gonna find party. And as you can see here, we have just our open slots. We just hope that somebody joins and then we enter the dungeon. If it takes a while, I'll just cut this out and skip to when we enter the dungeon. Okay, we found a party. I'm just gonna skip the opening cutscene because I don't particularly care. Most dungeons, if not all, work the same in that I can't go any further here. We have to kill certain enemies. We don't have to kill all, as you can see. We can just move on now. I, of course, know where to go because I've already done this dungeon, so but it's not particularly difficult. Dungeons are relatively straightforward. So there might be a side area or 2. Okay, I just died because my potion's on cooldown, but that's fine. You have revives, and you can also get revived. Like, dying is basically inconsequential in a dungeon. Your teammates can just revive you if you run out of revives. Those revives, by the way, are not paid for. You recharge them by either killing enemies or just going to town, so it's all good. Okay, here we are about to have our first boss fight. As I mentioned when I talked about the activities, dungeons are mostly just kill a few enemies, a boss, a few more enemies, and then another boss or 2. this is exactly that. So we have this boss here, of course some ads on the side. Quite straightforward. Overall, you can maybe see there's a little more focus on telegraphed attacks and dodging than in previous Diablo games, but the game is quite forgiving, because it's made for mobile, I guess, mostly. So you don't have to worry too much. Okay, talk to her, and then we can move on. Open this gate. Person's already doing it. Great. Now we have to kill stuff. If we kill stuff fast enough, which I've never failed, you get extra loot. So as you can see, if we kill 10 of the army of the Bloodsworn, we get an extra chest at the end. Okay, 10 is not a lot, you might say, in over a minute. Sure. However, now we have to do 50 on top of the 10 we already did. And then it's 20, and I don't remember how high the numbers climb, but basically, yep, you just run through here, kill stuff, and then, oh no, it's a dead end. Ah, turns out you have to go back, actually. And these traps, as you can see, who cares? You can just ignore them. Maybe they'll get more difficult later on higher difficulties, but for now, you might as well just run into them. The main problem with those is they slow you and push you back. That's the main problem. It's not the damage. It's really inconsequential. Okay, we're back to the chamber where we fought the boss. We kill a few enemies here. And then this gate is gonna open. What a surprise. Also, the timer went back up. I don't remember. I think it's per chest. It goes up. But either way, I can just tell you, I've never had any issues getting the kills. So, unless you're just completely under-geared, you'll be fine. You'll get your full 5 chest reward. On that we have some of the globes. The aforementioned sort of mini shrines. And now we get to the dungeon's boss. Because that is already... This is the first dungeon, I think. It's quite short. The other dungeons might be like 1.5 times as long. And also have more bosses. Like this one only had 2 other dungeons. One I can think of has 1, 2, 3, 4 bosses, for example, so might be a little longer, but overall you're looking at 5 to 10 minutes maybe for dungeons. Which, of course, if you remember, it's a mobile game, so it all makes sense. People on mobile are probably not able to commit as much time to a single session, so they try to shorten everything. Yeah, we have some mechanics. We have to avoid these birds. They actually deal a decent amount of damage, so it's one of the mechanics. I'm gonna run into one, so there you go. It doesn't outright kill you. You can tank like 3 or 4 of them, even as a squishy demon hunter, as you can see there. But you shouldn't just face tank. So now I have no revives, so I'm gonna have to wait until somebody here revives me. I'm just hoping that somebody does, because otherwise I can't pick this loot. But there we have our 5 chests that we earned. And that's the dungeon. Okay, we don't have a particularly friendly party. No, there we go. Somebody's reviving us. But overall, if you pay some attention, it's not a big deal dodging most of the boss's attacks. There's a few bosses that are way stronger than others, but overall, it seems fair. And then we have the Elder Rifts, so the equivalent of Nephilim Rifts. You just click here. Once a day you can claim a free rare crest that boosts your loot. I'm gonna showcase you a rift without any rare crests, so you'll see how pitiful the loot is. And then I'm gonna show you one where I put in 3 rare crests, and then one where I put in 2 legendary crests, because I only have 2 of those. And remember, legendary crests, you can earn technically through playing. You can buy 1 per month from an in-game shop. Like, not for real money, but for in-game money. And you also get 1 or 2 through the battle pass. But like, realistically, if you want legendary crests, you basically have to pay money. Rare crests, as I said, you get 1 per day, a few through the battle pass and here and there, but you're not going to be getting that many. So, like, this is your average Rift experience, I guess. Or what you'll see at the end, because of course most of the loot comes from the Rift Guardian. Overall, rifting is a lot like Diablo 3. If you want to be efficient, you just focus on the bigger groups of enemies, rare packs and blue packs. exactly the same with the timer. You make some progress, Rift Guardian gets summoned. It's really not much to talk about if you've played Diablo 3. However, one difference is you only have one floor instead of multiple, so you can't just skip through. However, if you would get an unfavorable rift, you could always just leave. If you didn't put any crests in, you don't lose anything. But I've done quite a few rifts, and so far the only thing that really is an issue are the fetish flayers, I believe. Basically, if you play Diablo 2, remember the jungle, remember all the little fuckers that would kill you. Those guys are in this game, and they're also really overpowered. Everything else in the rift is just, oh yeah, it's an enemy, whatever, I'll kill it, yay. You don't really care much about the enemy types and their different behaviors.
Suffer! You deserve nothing less.
Okay, gonna probably need another group of enemies after this one to summon the Rift Guardian. This is actually a rather unlucky rift. Yeah, I've had rifts with much better density, but usually you're looking at, depending of course on how efficiently you're playing it, but I would say solo my rifts are on average 2 minutes 40, 2 minutes 50, somewhere around there. When I was playing with a coordinated party, we were getting consistent 2 minute 15 rifts. So I would say if you play somewhat focused on efficiency and you don't kill every single monster along the way, you can consistently do rifts in under 3 minutes. It will tell you at the end, so we'll know. Rift Guardian is also... I'm just gonna stand in these things, like... Okay, well, I guess I can't. He doesn't really pose a threat. As I said, normal rifts are kind of a cakewalk. Okay, 2 minutes 54, actually rather slow, and that was all loot. Okay, so... Now we wait for a little bit, and then a blacksmith spawns, which is very convenient. You can just go here and quickly salvage all your gear. Just like that, and then we can leave and continue rifting. Actually super nice that they put the blacksmith there. Because otherwise, once this starts loading, you would have to go all the way down here in the city, and we're currently here. Okay, now, let's see what happens if we put 3 rare crests in. You can see we get some extra runes, which are basically a material you use for upgrading a few things and crafting legendary gems, and then of course more stuff for runes. Let's see. So 3 rare crests. Remember, you can technically earn these. You get 1 free per day, and then can buy a few others for other activities. Oh yeah, also rifts have modifiers, like you can move through enemies. Enemies have a chance to flee when they are low on life. Very annoying. Monsters alternate between enraged and weakened. It's just, honestly, I don't even bother reading them because they make so little difference, because normal rifts are such a cakewalk. And also, for anyone that hasn't already figured it out, those crests are basically glorified loot boxes. It's a loot box where you just don't immediately get your reward, but you actually have to do the rift. But you'll see. So remember, this was 3 rare crests, so I would say you can maybe earn 3... yeah, let's say about 3 rare crests per day. So you could do 1 of these rifts, and then you just get the pitiful loot that you saw before. And then, of course, we're gonna have the fun part, the legendary crests. So you'll see how crazy the pay-to-win gets in that regard. Because if you haven't played, of course, it's a little difficult to see how much the pay-to-win is. But don't worry, we'll show you that. Yeah, there you saw the enemies were below 50% health, and now they flee. That one is actually one of the few rift modifiers that actually matter, because it just makes the rift a lot more annoying. The other rift modifiers you just ignore. Because, okay, well, guess I have to eat my own words. But here's the fun part. You die, and it doesn't fucking matter. Oh no, I lost a second, and I believe the timer goes up. So if I were to die again, it would be, I would lose more time, and if you... See? Yep, now we get 5 seconds. But as you can see, I'm so far ahead, it doesn't matter. I could just die over and over. These are just designed to almost not be failable. These are just designed to be super easy. Of course, at some point you'll get I don't know if it caps out. Maybe it caps out at plus 30 seconds, but of course at some point you'll just lose too much time. But overall, I could probably die 5 more times and still be fine. Because everything is so weak, dies so easily, that it's just completely irrelevant that we even have a timer. There we go. Rift Guardian spawned. Get an energy globe, which resets our cooldowns. Unlucky. Sometimes the Rift Guardian spawns very far away. Oh look, Alchemical Shrine. Basically, we turn our enemies to gold when we attack them. Except for the boss, because of course he's immune to that, so not particularly helpful. And no, turning enemies to gold of course doesn't mean extra gold. It's basically just a CC shrine. I don't know why they chose gold. Could have just done freeze or whatever else. I don't know, just a very weird choice. Okay, remember, this is 3 rare crests. So this is maybe something you could get once a day. Let's see. Okay. And all those runes are extra from the crests. Doesn't even show them here, so great. Yeah. Alright. Those runes, as I mentioned, you need them for crafting legendary gems, so they are quite valuable. Right, one more rift for showcasing, so I'm going to remove these 3, and then my 2 legendary crests that I have. So, as you can see, guaranteed legendary gem. Right. And notice how I haven't found any legendary gems. Not a coincidence. There we have our mods again. As I said, I don't care, I'm just gonna start. Why is the Rift Guardian being shown on the map? We actually have a bug? It would be hilarious. Okay, well, don't think this is normal, but I'll take it. Sure, this is interesting. Imagine if the rift was just glitched out and I just lost all of my crests. That would be hilarious. But as I said, you get legendary gems. Those are quite strong because you need them to upgrade legendary gems. So, if you want to increase your power, you basically have to pay at a certain point, because leveling up gems is just not feasible as a free-to-play. I've done several rifts, I've never found a legendary gem. So, except for through the crests, so the guaranteed ones. Okay, or maybe this was a modifier, I guess. Yeah, that's what you get for not reading modifiers. Maybe this is just only boss's rift. Yeah, that's probably it. Oh well. That's what you get for not reading. That's how little I care. Oh look, also boss damage. Yeah, I'm gonna try to intentionally run into the skulls. See how my health bar moves? Okay, if you get shotgun by all of them, it might be a little problematic, but like, I don't even bother dodging. That's how easy normal rifts are. Okay, and next. I don't know what the wind is. Probably another modifier from the rift that I was too lazy to read. Also just a minor annoyance. And as you might have noticed, some of these rift guardians are straight recycled from Diablo 3. If you play this game, you'll notice that a lot. Like, a lot of enemies are just taken straight from Diablo 3, maybe with minor mechanic changes. Like Sandshaper didn't have this attack in Diablo 3, I believe. But boss model and voice and everything is the same name as well, so... Alright, actual boss time. This one I believe is a new one, actually. I'm trying to remember some of the names of the recycled Rift Guardians, but of course, I can't think of any from the top of my head right now. Except for the Sandshaper that we just had. Once again, I stood in the fire attack for most of its duration. I barely took any damage. Alright, that's the normal loot, that's what you will always get. And, of course, we get our runes and our legendary gems, because, hey, that's what you should pay for. Time for the challenge rift. As you can see, I've already cleared up to level 17. As indicated by the checkmarks here, I'm only gonna get my rewards once, as I previously mentioned, so I'm just gonna attempt to solo this level 18 challenge rift. Previously, I've not been able to do this, but of course, as you check off your dailies and do all your chores, you're gonna get stronger, so maybe I can do it now. there's a warning for the high monster difficulty, which basically means, okay, your gear is below what we expect people to have at this point, like on this level of rift, but that doesn't mean it's impossible to do. It just means you take more damage than they intended, I guess, and deal less. However, this is usually kind of where it gets interesting. You don't just annihilate everything, you have to be a little bit more aware of your positioning, avoid enemies and all that, so I actually prefer the high difficulty rifts. I'm gonna be a little bit crazy here, just rush in, sort of see what I can get away with. As you can see, it does take a while to kill enemies, so if you get a big group of enemies, you might get overwhelmed, but it seems like I may be able to manage. Oh, I need a health book desperately now. Or my torch to be ready again, there we go. Okay, yeah, that was very close. However, we're still fine, so all good. Yeah, I need extra health globes, definitely. So the main difference, aside from of course that this goes up in difficulty compared to the normal rift, is that if you go to the higher difficulty, it also just implicitly changes how you approach it. You don't just run in, oh, small monsters, so yeah, whatever. Like, if this was a normal rift, I would just skip this group, but this is a challenge rift, and I know that I'm not able to just group up an entire screen of monsters and blast them to bits. So I need to go and fight these smaller groups of monsters. And also, of course, if you have a large screen of monster, like filled with monsters as you saw before, you might just get yourself killed. I was able to get away with it, but you saw that it was very close. The main reason that I failed challenge rifts, I always want to say greater rifts, but challenge rifts in this, I promise they're different totally. The main reason that you would fail is that you would die, and then if you play alone, you can just respawn instantly, but your timer gets reduced, like in Diablo 3. If you're in a party, you just have to wait. Of course, the timer, or the time penalty rather, keeps going up, so the first death, okay, you lose a second, whatever, and it's like 3 to 5 seconds, I don't remember exactly, and then it goes up, and then at some point the death might cost you like 15, 20, maybe even 30 seconds. Of course, if you die repeatedly, then you might actually run out of time. But for now, it looks like I'm going to be able to do this. There's plenty of time. I could afford a handful of deaths at this point, I believe. Even if I died 3 or 4 times, I should still be able to do it. Something that I also found very interesting about the challenge rifts is the main difficulty, for me at least, was getting to the Rift Guardian. Like, you want to group up the monsters enough so that you can play somewhat efficiently and save time. You don't want to kill every small monster group. What the hell was that? Like, he wasn't able to move. But on the other hand, if you group up monsters too much, of course you're going to get overwhelmed. So you have to find this balance. With the Rift Guardian, well, it's just, okay, burst this guy down as fast as possible and avoid the attacks. It's a lot simpler, actually, which is kind of weird because, of course, the Rift Guardians have a lot of different attacks. So they're more varied than the individual monsters. But the sheer number, like the volume of monsters, makes them actually a bigger threat, at least. For me, that was the case. You can see the Rift Guardian here is just, yeah, whatever. Purple around my abilities on cooldown, basically. Just get him down as quickly as possible. I could tank these skulls even if I wanted. They don't deal much damage. Yeah, I'm standing in the red skulls, as you can see. I mean, I shouldn't, but if I do, it's not a big deal, even if I tank like 5 of them. As a squishy demon hunter, of course. So it's not like you absolutely have to avoid all the Rift Guardians mechanics. You can totally get by just ignoring them. Well, not ignoring, but being a little bit neglectful, I guess. Not sure if I mentioned this before, this is my ultimate ability. It just replaces my... Okay, well that was some stun lock. It replaces my main attack, which is this explosive shot that does some AoE, with a... I guess it's Bola shot from Diablo 3, but the main difference is you deal slightly less... slightly more damage on hit, and your attacks pierce enemies, so it's just good for AoE clear. However, the attack also knocks back enemies, which is probably supposed to be beneficial, but I usually find it rather annoying, so then I have to run after the enemies that I'm pushing away. But Drift Guidance can't be knocked back, and it's a damage increase, so might as well use it. I will personally not die again. Hello, Black. Okay. Here we go, there's our loot. Yep, you get a few materials. Nothing crazy. Just a small little bonus. And also, I believe once per day? I'm not exactly sure of the frequency, but since you have the leaderboards, you can see here, oh, I'm 475 for Demon Hunter. And based on your placement, you also get rewards. So basically your bracket, are you top 100, top 300, I believe, top 500, top 700, or top 1000, and so on. You also have the multiplayer leaderboards and, of course, for other classes. However, the problem, of course, becomes pay to win. Well, I wouldn't say very quickly, but at some point. I'm still in the top 500 without paying for any advantage here. However, at some point, I'm just going to fall off. I'm not going to be able to compete with whales. So just be aware of that. Okay, here's one of the more confusing activities. This is the Shadow Assembly. I believe you have to join the Shadow faction to be able to do this. Basically, you have some factions similar to World of Warcraft where it's Horde versus Alliance, but here it's, I think, Immortals versus Shadows. So if you're a Shadow, every day between 18 and 20 o'clock, so if you can't play at that time, get screwed. I think except for Sundays, on those it just doesn't take place, you have the Shadow Assembly. So you just go here, and you get assigned a random blessing. I can now go around and just try to... Oh no, I can give my blessing to other people, and I can request the blessing from other people. There's 4 to collect in total. The time when it runs out, people get assigned a new blessing. I don't know exactly how it decides who gets which blessing, but basically what it usually boils down to is you go here, you just wait for about 10 minutes, and then you come back, and you probably received every blessing from other people, and then you just claim the rewards. So I'm probably just gonna fast forward this footage, and then you can see the rewards at the end that I get for literally doing nothing. Okay, now new blessings have been assigned. Somebody just requested, so I can just check. Okay, this person has the blessing. If I'm a nice person, I can now go around, check. Okay, somebody didn't have it. So I can just check. Does anybody need it? It's a little bit buggy, as you saw. Like, I'm channeling it for just a split second, and then it just stops. So this is definitely one of the recurring bugs I've encountered. But basically, yeah, I could try to give my blessing to other people now, if it wasn't so stupidly buggy, and that's why I usually just give up. So I'm just gonna stand here and wait. So the first blessing, the one that I have now, this one, I just have, so it's fine. The other the other 3 of the 4, I can only get if somebody else shares their blessing with me. So this is the point where I just might as well go AFK and wait. Okay, so this time we got unlucky and I didn't even get one of the blessings because nobody decided to share it with me. It actually hasn't happened to me before, so I think I just have to wait another full cycle of all the blessings. So I guess I just keep waiting here. Okay, and there we go. So on the second cycle, I just immediately got the right blessing. So now we can click here and claim our rewards. So if you have a look, I'm almost halfway to a Paragon level. So I'm just gonna claim all of these. Oh, what's this? Almost half a Paragon level for doing absolutely nothing? Like, if I had been rifting, I probably need over half an hour to get that much. So this is just... yeah, stand AFK, do nothing, and get crazy amounts of experience. Good activity. Alright, time for the PvP. Battlegrounds. You get rewards for your first 3 matches in a day, and you also have a ranking. It's leaderboards, of course. Totally not pay to win, but hey, let's find a match. Okay, and if everybody ready's up, there we go. Alright, let's see. Hopefully we're attacker, because probably easier to showcase that way, but we'll see. Let's try. Okay, we are on the offense. Right, so first of all, there's just, I guess, time for everybody to load in, and I believe the first time you go here, you get an instruction, so we just have to wait, as you can see up here, 50 seconds still. And then, actually I can already own the map. So we have the 3 bosses here that we have to kill. Defenders spawn all the way here. They don't have to walk all the way there. There's a portal about here that will just teleport them to about here. But some people don't know about that, so anyway. We just go here, we kill those 3 bosses, and then our spawn gets moved to here, and then we have to push one of those 2 payloads across. If we get that done, our spawn, I believe, shifts to here. And then we just destroy their ancient, because this is Dota, in case you haven't already realized. Well, the ancient heart, but hey, ancient, so it's Dota. I'm just gonna go for the right, because most people just run straight for the middle one. So I'm hoping that I can just be on the side one and not get focused as much. Also, as I mentioned, the healing is replaced by this bandage ability, which I cannot use now because I'm in combat. First enemies are coming, one's heading for me. So I'm probably gonna try to ignore him as much as I can. Just because I want to get the boss down. Like, killing him doesn't give me anything other than he's not gonna kill me. Oh wow, the lag. Yep, the aforementioned lag. There we go, he got me. Okay, we have a respawn timer. It goes up to, as I said, I believe 12 seconds. Have a nice overview here. We only got the first Guardian, and now it gets a little more difficult, because of course the fewer Guardians there are, the higher the chances that there's just a bunch of enemies defending it. So once again, I'm just trying to mostly ignore the enemies, because I know that I don't really have a chance to fight them. Not only because I didn't pay for any progress, but also because they're 2v1, so not much I can do. We're not making good progress though, and as you can see, time's running out. But I believe the time is per objective, so if we get this, the timer does get reset. Problem is that he can attack me and I can't attack him. I also want to attack the Guardian, but he's fortunately retreating, so I could maybe heal, but I'm just gonna try to focus the Guardian down. This is looking good. Yeah, a few suicide rushes said we should have it. The one thing that's a little inconvenient is you don't see how many times you've died over here. You only have the timer. But I don't know, we might have already died 30 times. So I don't know how close we are actually to losing. A little odd.
I am wounded.
Oh, come on, the Guardian is almost dead. Oh, that was poor positioning on my part. If somebody just suicide rushes in there, just 1 or 2 abilities and he's dead. Like, it's... I've never seen the attacking team not get the 3 Guardians. That's basically a guarantee you get them. It's just a matter of how long it takes you. Come on, guys. Did my team just leave? What are they doing? They're just fighting the enemies instead of doing the objective. Okay, this one I can actually kill. He's low on health. Okay, so there's still 4 enemies over there, which means there's only 4 enemies ahead of us. At most. That's actually really good. Here's our new spawn. And then we have the 2 payloads. So I'm gonna try to help this guy in hopes that everybody just stacks up and the other guy on the left can just freely push the payload. Okay, this guy should be dead. Nope, he is not. Okay, well. Oh, I immediately canceled my bench and it's on cooldown now. RIP. Okay, now we can start pushing. I'm about to die. Somebody pushing from behind, so I'm practically dead. I just try to get as much damage on him as I can. Yep, caps out at 12 seconds the respawn timer. So the problem now is they realize they're now halting the other payload. So it doesn't look particularly good for us. We're not really killing enemies very fast or at all, so this is likely a loss. You can see if you get 2v1 there's no chance. Although this guy does already feel a lot stronger than I am. So I should probably just try to wait for my team and group up with them. Just not playing it very smart here. Personally, I hate the PvP in this, so I just don't really care much if I lose. This is just to showcase you what the gameplay is like. Because my team is so far back. Like, we need I'm not a tank. I can't be in front. The Crusader or a Barbarian or a Monk or something needs to be in the front. Maybe even a Necromancer. Or we just kill the Stamina Hunter who just YOLO'd into our backlines.
Heal me.
No, I'm just gonna... Now we can actually heal without casting. There we go. Now I didn't fuck it up. But now all the enemies are stacking up on this one again. I guess that's why you have 2 payloads. Oh, there's a healing pool. I didn't even know that. Should be a kill there. Then we just hope that we can push. Once again, I don't know how close we are to the 55 kills. So we might be just about to lose. Enemies are not defending for some reason. One's coming over now. We are 3, so if we just go in and engage, right? Yeah, that's what I meant. Just teaming. Immediately dead. He had no chance whatsoever. This is a heavy focus on team play. And by team play, I just mean being together. This guy's not going to be able to deal any damage to us, basically. Yep, man, he's dead already. Gonna heal. Yeah, because we are outnumbering them, we just win by default, basically. It hardly matters if you have better gear. There's still... Gear matters a lot, but if you're in a 3v1, it's already over before it starts, basically. Like, now we are outnumbered, so it's just an immediate loss. Which is why I'm just gonna run, because I don't want to die.
Still waiting. I need healing.
How does the healing pool work? We just gotta glow. Okay, now our team is back, so now is our chance to strike. I'm gonna use the time to heal now. Merciless, hey, because I didn't die, I guess. Yeah, so this mode is a lot about grouping up and not dying. So you need to know when to retreat, and you just need to gank up on the enemies. That's really important. So now all the enemies are probably coming here. The problem is I have to push the payload, so our teammates push too far ahead. They might get outnumbered over there. I'm just gonna nope out and heal. I really don't want to die. Okay, we got this Barbarian because he went in practically solo once again. It's a little stupid because you can't really do much by yourself. It's all about grouping, unfortunately. But we're not making very good progress overall. It's not looking like a win. Because even if we get our payload pushed, and looks like we're at least making progress on one lane, but even then we still need to destroy their ancient heart. I'm just gonna go over to the other payload because everybody's stacked over there and just hope that we somehow sneak by. And yep, it seems like they're not defending. That's how it usually is. Everybody's just stacked on one payload and then you just get to push all the way through. because the enemy team is idiots, I guess. And there we go. Okay, we got it. And now this guy just runs in solo and immediately dead. Did he even damage any of us? I don't think so. That's how strong grouping up is in this. Look, 3v1. Okay, this guy's a lot stronger. So either a lot more progress or maybe somebody paid. Okay, I take it back. You have a chance in a 3v1. I guess you just need to pay enough money. Fun mode. Very fun. That's why I initially mentioned stay away from PvP. It's just not good. And now it just basically turns into another suicide rush. So we just try to get their ancient down, of course. Hope that we don't die in the process. But we should probably kill this Demon Hunter because he's just being an annoyance. So I'll use my ultimate for a little damage increase and piercing shot. Oh, we're actually gonna win, it seems like. Nice. And that's PvP for you. Oh, there, now we can see 44 out of 55 kills. So it was kind of close. Now you have the leaderboard, I guess, or ranking, whatever. Kills, assists, and kills, death, assists. As you can see, I did totally well. I mean, I did better than some people, but overall, I tend to always end up low on the leaderboard. Either I just suck at PvP, or maybe it's because it's slightly pay to win. Wink, wink. Okay, you get your ranking increase if you win, and then that's it. Okay, finally, we have some raid showcase. So you go here, and then I'm gonna do the normal raid because I don't want to get absolutely wrecked. Let's see. I'll just do difficulty 1. I'll just join one of them. Now we just wait for 8 people. Simple as that. You can also limit it to only your warband, which is sort of a mini clan of 8 people, or probably other limits, but the first raid on the first difficulty is not super difficult once you understand the mechanics. So it's fine. We just do a public party. Right, we found the full group, so now hopefully everybody accepts. There we go. Right, shouldn't be the first one to go in, so I'm just gonna wait for most of the people. There we go. I think that's one from our raid. Oh, sure. And then we have our raid boss. A little, I can't attack. The game is bugging out a little. One of the, yep. There we go. Now I can. Okay. So yeah, a little different from most MMO raids. Maybe you don't have monsters leading up to it. So you have these things on the left, healing pools, and on the right, they just spawn some health globes. The boss is nothing crazy. You have the enrage timer, as you can see on the left, but that's never happened. So there you have your well-telegraphed abilities. There's only really one thing you have to be worried about. So he summons some ads, also no big deal. There's just one attack that if you don't get in cover, you just get wiped, I believe. I don't think you can tank it. But everything else is just a normal boss with a little more emphasis on dodging. I believe you should do it about now. Not 100% sure when he does it. I've only done this boss twice, so. Or maybe he's just not going to do his wipe attack at all. That would be funny. Great showcase that would be, right? Okay. Oh. Guess he's not doing it. So when he does it, there's one or two rocks in the arena, and then there's a warning, like get behind a rock. And then you just get behind the rock. And after a certain amount of seconds, he just wipes anyone that's not, like, that he has line of sight to, I guess. But he didn't do it because we killed him fast enough or something. Or we just got lucky. But yep, that's the entire raid.